Hey, welcome back to Get Down to Business, this show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We are back, and I'm joined by the CEO of Ascendant Group Branding. That's Raul Davis. He is an award-winning CEO branding firm that he leads, built on referrals and inspired by trust since 2004. I could go on and on about Raul, but he's a member of the Forbes Agency Council, regularly contributes content to Forbes. He's the author of the fantastic read. It's called Firestarters: How Innovators, Initiators, and Instigators Can Inspire You to Ignite Your Own Life. That's a lot of eyes in there. Raul has been at the White House, U.S. Senate, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and the list goes on and on. And most importantly, Raul, I know your life philosophy is paving the way for others. Raul, how did you develop all of that passion and paving the way for others, that mindset? And tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with me by having really great mentors in undergrad and other people giving me opportunity. I had an opportunity to book a speaking engagement on campus. We had about 1,100 students there. And I said to the speaker bureau we were working with, "Hi, do you have any internships?" They said, "No." I said, "Can you give me one anyway?" So I started booking speakers for them at other universities across the country, eventually became one of our top salespeople. A few years later, two of the clients from that bureau asked me to start my own agency, and that's how Ascendant was born in 2004. We started out managing public speakers. Took about 2 years to determine that their personal brand was in what influenced how much they speak. So we got into PR and branding, and then a couple years later, we started having more CEOs and executives as clients, and we decided to step into that world. And 13 years later, we're known as one of the top CEO branding firms in the world.
Congratulations on that. That's incredible. Again, I'm chatting with Raul Davis, who is a CEO branding expert, speaker, and best-selling author. Raul, I'm gonna cut to the chase over here because that's what we do here on Get Down to Business. My understanding is that you had a 1.25 GPA in high school. Is that accurate?
That was my freshman year, correct?
That's crazy. And now, again, you are one of the top ranking CEO branding and PR agencies in the world. You mentioned mentorship. You mentioned, having amazing people around you. But I mean, gosh, what's some of the inspirations and most importantly, what's some of the tips that you have for fellow entrepreneurs that might be tuning in that may have come from a challenging place?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is to understand that what has happened to you in life doesn't define you, and it's about looking ahead. And that's what really we talk about in the book Firestarters is like people being able to tap into what is it that gets them moving the most, and
Hmm.
then defining a strategy against that. So for me, I realized that helping other people reach their potential was something that I was very passionate about. And I guess because I had so many challenges myself, and I essentially built a business around it. And we've always kind of thought about having the bridge where the vision is represented by where you want to get to, and us kind of being and building the bridge for that gets you there.
Amazing. And again, as mentioned, you wrote a book called Firestarters: How Innovators, Instigators, Initiators Can Inspire You to Ignite Your Own Life, which, again, I love that title. And more importantly, I love the content. So, what about your experience in working with CEOs? And I know you've worked with so many, but also other high performers, inspired you to write that book?
So a couple things about this whole world of CEO branding. So one thing people have to realize is that business isn't just business to business or business consumer, but it's H to H, human to human connection. So how do you develop that emotional connectivity for a brand? And my mentor of mine, Chris Collins, shared with me this idea that all of us have two choices: either you can get branded or you can get labeled. And so many people have great products, they have great ideas, but they're not willing to put themselves out there. And I think that what people need to realize is that you owe it to the marketplace, if you have a good product, to make sure people are seeing it. And one of the best ways to do that is for you to become the chief storyteller for your business, because them seeing that alignment between who you are and your business makes them that much more of a believer.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And that's, the whole idea behind, like you said, that CEO branding, which is absolutely critical. So, I mean, we only have about a minute and a half remaining for our conversation. And I want to, again, leave this with some real practical tips for a moment on basically what our listeners, again, CEOs maybe of a small firm, a small agency, just getting going, what they need to know to get the process started, because it doesn't always start with the spotlights, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I'll say two things very quickly. quickly. So one, I will come to the kind of key theme in the book that ties with this is this idea of cognitive convergence. And the quickest way I can explain it is that highly successful people have a way of contorting reality to make it work for them. So if they face a challenging situation, they will find something from their past that they did was difficult. And even if it isn't a perfect fit, put it into this situation. So fast example is Tom Brady. We're down 28-3 in the Super Bowl. No one had ever come back from that far behind, but he thought about all the other times he came back. And even though it wasn't from the same amount, he still took that into that moment. And because of that confidence and the belief, you could see his team following it, and they did really amazing things. For CEOs, real quick, but one thing is to be a thought leader. You have an expertise, make sure you're putting that in the marketplace, because media doesn't care about your corporate press
Hmm.
release about your product. What they care
Couldn't agree
about
more.
is what value are you providing.
Raul, I wish we'd go on and on, but we have a commercial coming in just a moment. Where can we get in touch with you so we can learn more and pick up a copy of your book?
Absolutely. So ascendantgroupbranding.com is the website, and I'm really great on Instagram, Raul Davis Brands, Raul Davis Brands on Instagram.
Absolutely. Raul Davis, really appreciate you coming on the program. We'll link in our show notes as well. Can't wait to bring you on to talk more CEO branding and talk a little bit more about your story. Very, very inspiring. Congratulations on all of your success. Quick break here on the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We'll be right back.